We're going to welcome Jaime Diaz to the show on this Tuesday. Jaime, thank you for spending some time with us. You've covered Tiger for the length of his career. How would you put this very sad news into perspective on this Tuesday?
Well, it is a sad day and something that you feel is so integral to Tiger's life. And I feel sad for Tiger. It's going to be a huge loss. I know he'll recover from it with strength like he always has. But Tida was such a source of strength, very much the power behind the throne, so to speak, in terms of not being public, but always there, no matter what. Eamon referred to it earlier in the show. She was a force of nature. She's an extremely strong woman who was very quiet and very serene in public, and behind the scenes was still, quiet, but there was a force that came from her. And when she spoke, Tiger always listened. As she always said, I'll always tell you the truth. I'll tell you what you didn't want to hear. And he always respected it. I think she was the rock. And in so many of the things that Tiger was great at, Earl was an incredible contributor to so many things that Tiger did well. Tida gave him, I think, that emotional stability, especially in competition. The poise, the coolness, the fierce competitiveness, that was Tida. And in a way that carried over into the rest of his life as well, because Tiger's a quiet man who lets his clubs do the talking mostly. He has to talk because he's in public, but, quiet force, silence with real authority. That was Tida, and that's Tiger too.
Is it fair to say that, golf fans remember Earl so vividly, and he was always such a gregarious, forward-facing character, Tida very much in the background. Is it fair to say that Earl kind of crafted Tiger the golfer, but Tida had a lot more of a role in terms of Tiger the personality, in terms of that kind of grit, determination, the way he approached the job that Earl was preparing him to execute?
I think that's right, Eamon. I think Tiger is an introvert. I don't think he would object to that. And Tida was an introvert. And they let sort of their actions speak for them. Tiger was all about, accomplishments with a lot of discipline. And Tida's mission in her life was having a great son and putting all her energy into that quietly, without fanfare, without needing a lot of credit. And I think in that regard, Tiger learned from her example in life in terms of how he carried himself. Tida could be very funny, and she had a wonderful spirit. As he said, she was a force of nature. But in general, it was carried out with this intensity of purpose. And I think Tiger, that's his signature, intensity of purpose. In life, certainly on the golf course, I think she did have an effect on him on the golf course as well. Very competitive. She was, as Damon said earlier, you step on their necks, you take their heart, and then you're friends afterwards. But on the golf course, extremely fierce. And I think actually Tida was a more fierce competitor than Earl.
How integral was she in the early years, especially in terms of ferrying Tiger from this tournament to that, scooping up food, making sure Tiger was a great student, a fantastic student, sometimes earning straight A's in the classroom? How much was that Tida's influence as well?
Oh, that was really important. In fact, Tiger was considering other schools, but Stanford was the priority because they considered it the best education, perhaps not as attractive in terms of having a big time golf program, although they were obviously great. No, education, even in college, when it was clear Tiger would be turning pro at some point, that was the emphasis. And he did his homework first, and I saw that firsthand, which is hard to believe for somebody that good who played that much golf. But when he got home from school, he didn't do it all necessarily, but he attended to it first. And that was a priority for his mother. As well, Tida made sure that he saw a Buddhist monk in his formative years growing up, once a year in Southern California. So a lot of structure there, a lot of discipline from Tida in all phases, as you say, away from the golf course. But yeah, I noticed it at his Hall of Fame speech, just watching it in review. The only time his voice kind of cracked, the only time he faltered was when he talked about the sacrifice of his mother, taking him to all those junior golf tournaments and everything that she did for him at home, and encouraged him no matter what kind of, adversity he might have faced in school, away from, the golf course, because there were times when it was tough in school at times with just social situations. And Tida was the rock for that as well.
Tiger's always said that his mother was the enforcer in the family. You hear that a lot among golfers, actually. I mean, Rory McIlroy will say the same about his mother, Rosie, as well. You spent a lot of time around the Woods family. She really was the metal. It's not an exaggeration to say that Earl, the Green Beret, was actually the softie of the two, because Tiger has always treated her as, that's where the rod of iron in his back comes from, is from his mother.
Well, there was a lot of kid in Earl. I mean, Earl was playful and fun, and that was great. Tiger really enjoyed that. But when it came down, maybe to getting down to business, he listened to his mom more. He said, my mom's the one I fear, in terms of, getting her angry or upsetting her in any way. There was a greater cost for that, is emotionally and maybe when he was a little kid, maybe in punishment too. She was the one that, held the line. I mean, Earl certainly had a hard side and was a great disciplinarian when in big things, but I think in everyday life, Tida was the one that, provided those kind of rules for Tiger.
Jaime, Tida was there in 2000 when Tiger completed the career Grand Slam at the age of 24 at the Old Course at St. Andrews. There in 2019 when he won a 15th major championship at Augusta National in the Masters. And there last week at TGL in the SoFi Center in this latest incarnation in Tiger Woods' life. What does it say about the breadth and depth of their relationship that she was there through so many moments, thick and thin, good and bad?
Oh, everything. I mean, she was there when she first went to the golf course, Hartwell Golf Course, when Tiger was 4 years old, and saw Rudy Duran, his first teacher, and said, is there a chance that this boy could get some lessons or play golf here? And Tiger hit a few shots, and Rudy said, you got range balls for life. But his mom was the one who gave him 75 cents a day to go to the golf course, dropped him off. And that was to make a phone call when he, the 25 cents at the end there was to call when he was ready for her to pick him up, excuse me. And, in 2000, I remember Tida did not show emotion very easily, although she felt it. But she loved the old things. I mean, she made pilgrimages to Thailand, and she loved that Thailand was an ancient land. And to be at St. Andrews when Tiger, won the Grand Slam in 2000, there was a tear in her eye, and that was rare. And I think there was a tear in her eye in 2019. TGL, it looked like she was laughing. So I'm glad that final time was a joyful time. But I mean, she went through everything with him in a way that I think he felt she was really the most trusted person in his life.
Jaime, a lot of books have been written about Tiger, and a lot more will be written about him in the years to come, in terms of the 82 tour wins and the majors and all of the accomplishments. But when we are giving an accounting of Tiger Woods, Kultida should not be a footnote, right? I mean, she was a significant contributor to the man who accomplished what he did.
No question, Eamon. I mean, he acknowledges that. There's no, obviously Earl was out front. And, she would laugh. She goes, "Oh man, he loved the stage. I just sit back here." But history is history. It was very evident that Tida, as you got to know Tiger as he got older, you could see parts of Tida and how Tida influenced him. So there's no question that, those two halves, Earl and Tida, were equal as far as the whole person. And, that whole person was dedicated completely to golf. So you can't, I don't think, ignore her contribution to his personality and the way that he dealt with stress and goals and everything else that he achieved in golf beyond his technique and his talent. I think a lot of that came from Tida, and he looked to her, I think, for advice. And when things got hard, he knew he could always count on her. And that support, I think, got him through some things that, otherwise might have derailed his golf career. So in that respect, she was part of his longevity as well.
A unique relationship, a special relationship. Jaime, we appreciate your time and perspective on this sad Tuesday. Thank you.
Thanks, Dane.